Grace and peace to you. Yesterday during our Burning Questions Sunday school class, we were talking about original sin, and I wanted to echo some of the things we talked about this morning for y'all. Original sin really gets its roots from Augustine of Hippo, who was one of the earliest church fathers, and basically his point was that through the sinfulness of Adam's original sin that he committed, all of humanity has become fallen. And so whereas we were created to be bent towards God's will, some thing has happened in that fall so that now our desires are disordered and we are prone to sinfulness. In fact, Augustine would say that we are totally depraved, that we are unable to use our free will for good, but only use our free will for evil. And when any time that good happens through us, it's only through the Spirit's movements and efforts. And Luther would pick up on this total depravity stuff too, and so it shows up a lot throughout our theology. And while I think there are good and helpful things in there, the idea that I cannot make myself self-righteous, right? I can't do God's will all on my own. I actually need God. I think that's helpful, right? If I'm able to do right or wrong all on my own, then I don't need God to love, which doesn't make sense because God is love. So how can I love without God, right? And so these ideas that we do need God in order to be able to live well. We cannot make ourselves righteous. That's buried in this original sin idea, and I think that's helpful. But there's a lot of unhelpfulness in the theory too, and especially in ways that the total depravity speak does put a weight on us, right? And there's I'm a worm worthlessness that comes with it that can be dangerous and problematic. And I also think that it creates kind of a scapegoating of our sinfulness too, right? That it's not my fault I'm doing bad things. It's just the sinful nature of me. All people are bad and I can't do anything about it. Sin is the way that we're ordered now. I'm totally depraved, and it kind of can allow for us to build up systems and actions that are really problematic, and to not put the blame on ourselves and the need to correct them on ourselves because it's just the way humans are. I also think it's interesting that when we talk about original sin, we're talking about this story right here from Genesis chapter 3, which in this Bible happens on page 3 of the Bible. Which is strange because if it's original, you'd think we'd be on page 1, but we're not. And so I think anytime we're talking about this, it's helpful to go all the way back to page 1. And if we're gonna talk about original, start at the beginning with original blessing. That God originally, page 1, in the beginning, creates the world and creates it out of love and creates it as good. God says the world is good. The light and the darkness are good. The plants and the animals and the water and the land are good, and the people are very good. And so our originalness is blessing. It is to be very good. And that blessing for humanity is shown even deeper in our being image bearers of God. And so God says, not only are you very good, you are the bearers of my image. And so original can't be sin. That's page 3. Original is the blessing. Original is God creating as good, God creating as very good, and God giving humanity God's image that we might live out the love that we find in God in all the world. So that's just a little bit this morning. Hopefully it helps you on your week. Remember